Hi, I'm Scav, and I'm an architecture critic. Welcome to the Extra Office, a channel where I do architecture critiques of video games. If you want to join me live, please find my Twitch below. And to support my endeavors, please find me on Patreon, which is also linked below. Let's get started. So, this session I have a pretty fun plan. Oh, actually, I have a really fun plan, something I've been really excited to take a look at with you all. Tonight we are going to look at all of the stables, and we are also going to look at the labyrinths. So I'm super excited to review these. I think they're really fun pieces of architecture and kind of get overlooked when you think about maybe your experience. Let me see the other labyrinth. Where's the third labyrinth? Ah, yes, right here. There's this labyrinth, and I think we'll take a look at all three labyrinths. And then just one stable prototype, right? It's the same exact stable throughout the entirety of Hyrule. So let's find one where the weather's a little nicer. Let's see if the weather's nicer over here. We're gonna bounce around and see if we can get some good weather for a stable review. I hope you are all well. Earlier today, I was on live at the Triennale of Milan and the Architecture Biennale at Tbilisi, Georgia, and we were live for both. It was really incredible, and we talked. It's still raining, and we talked about. Let's see, where might it be? We had a whole Twitch stream about video games and architecture. It was a really great conversation. I would be super glad if you would check that out. It's at Twitch TV/abnormalstory. Abnormal_story is the recording of the afternoon conversation. So that's pretty cool. So one thing that's already kind of strange to think about is the fact that every stable is exactly the same piece of architecture, right? If you think about this game and all of the climactic responses that the architecture makes, it seems kind of strange to think that it would be the same piece of architecture all across Hyrule. And I'm a little surprised that it doesn't change more. Like, I'm a little surprised. They're very climate aware in this game, so I'm a little surprised that the building itself doesn't allow for more to allow itself to be more like climatically changeable. So that would mean it would have more. That would mean if it was more responsive to its environment. Oh, there's a dragon coming. If it was a little more able to be changed based on its environment, the building might have a long overhang, right, to address shade, and those shades might be able to be pulled back depending on the temperature that day or that night or what direction the sun is in. But also that more of these don't open in general, right? They're all enclosed on all sides except for these two openings which surround the primary business demarcation, or the primary desk, the front desk, right? But every stable is exactly the same. So they play the exact same music, so I hope that that's not going to be too annoying, but it's pretty low, so let me know if you want to mute the stable. But there's that classic kind of flute that plays. So we'll see. Anyway, each stable is exactly the same, and then it's kind of like the stable is a great piece of like fast food architecture in the game, right? It's like a McDonald's or a Taco Bell or a Burger King, and that you know when you see one that you've reached safety. You know when you see one that you've oh, good, there's a dragon coming. So you know that when you see one, you've reached safety, you've reached a trading hub, you can spend the night, you can cook, you are safe from monsters, right? The architecture signals that. And like Robert Venturi and Denise Scott Brown would say, a building is either a duck or a decorated shed. That means it either has, the building is either shaped like what it does, or shaped like its logo or something, or the building is a regular box with a nice big sign that tells you what it does. And all the architecture is in the sign or it's in the shape of the building. In this case, of course, the stable is a duck because the building and the main pier has the horse. And what is a stable if not a place to board and pick up additional or pick up or switch your horse? So that's the main point. Now, I could see why you might call it a decorated shed, though, because it's basically a regular building with the horse head. The horse head isn't really part of the space that you occupy. But I want to call this building a duck because the main support of it is so much about this form. Like, that is the form of the building, right? That's not a sign. These are signs. That's my read. That's my take on it. Let's go to a different one. This one might be pretty. All sorts of climates. But now let's get into a little bit of the building itself. Ooh, actually, my favorite stable is the very first stable that I came across in the game. So maybe we should check that one out. I think you all know which stable we're talking about too. But here's one. Good, it's not so rainy. Now, each stable has typically a little bit of space where there's like goats or, typically horses, but there's also a dog at every stable. There's some animals in a pen around. And each stable also has these paintings or I guess graphics that are drapes that are in between the colonnade or the columns that are on the outside. And each stable simply says stable. That actually looks like a difficult to read text, but that just says stable. Not a lot of the font in Breath of the Wild actually gives you an easy reading. Sometimes the font gets tricky, like you can't actually read it, but in this case, the word stable is actually pretty legible here. So that's cool. This at the top there are horseshoes, right? That look like they're kind of holding things together. I love that detail, the horseshoe as a kind of structural element. But I believe it's just kind of hung there or intertwining, because you see right down here where I'm actually aiming, or where that arrow shot, you see the ropes that are holding a lot of these sticks together. But I like that there's the decoration on this one, right? The decoration of this is really cool. I love the flags. It kind of looks like a used car lot mixed with a Taco Bell. Now I'm hungry. But that's a little bit about the stable. So let's take a look inside. So a lot of the stable is the doors are, or the entrance is draped with a big thick curtain. So I dig that because this would be a really warm tent. If anyone has slept in a really big room with a lot of people, like a large cabin or something like that, you'd know that just body heat is actually going to heat this space. There's not much of a reason to have a fire in here except to gather around. So maybe a covered fire wouldn't be bad. But most of the spaces in the stable, all right, now that it's lightning, I'm going to switch stables to the very first stable I encountered, which was the Dueling Peaks stable. I think that's probably the case for most players, but who knows? So the stable gets up off the ground with a little bit of wood, and there's a tent over it, which is actually a really great technology to keep you dry with very minimal setup conditions. It's basically exactly how most tents work. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful day. This is your stable. Let's give this one the once over. They're all the same pretty much. They've all got beetle. I don't even want to talk about this guy. But what I do want to mention is what's interesting about the space of video games, and I not only want to think about the space of the player, right? Like Link can go anywhere, do anything, right? But what about the space of the horses inside this game, right? When you board them, they just disappear. Where do those horses go, right? But what about the NPCs? They're mostly like just kind of strolling around. Beetle he moves around all over the stable, but the NPC that I feel so bad for the shopkeeper, right? Because one of the things you'll notice about this front desk is that there's no way for the person behind the front desk to actually get out of this space, right? There's no door or secret like hidden swinging door. It's just all built in. And this NPC spends their entire existence in the game walking back and forth between the front of the inn and the rear of the inn, or the innkeeper as the innkeeper space, or as the horse boarder. And they follow me. See, here he comes. And now I can sprint over here, and he's got to walk back. Like this poor NPC, is his entire spatial experience in the game. That's tough. Yeah, he does look angry. Okay, he does flinch at least when I point at him. But one thing I really adore, one of those tiny details that you might not notice, is that this frame is a horseshoe. Here, wait. I can do my hang on, let me just give you the real telestrator here. Check it out. Oh, it's black. Hang on, let me change my color. Fancy telestrator. I'm sure you saw it already, but that wood is a horseshoe. I think that's super cool. Really nice detail. Really great way to sort of pull me into the game. So I dig that a lot. I dig that opening. I find it an odd form that would be made out of wood, like not very structural. So I wonder what's back there, keeping it tethered. But we have a pretty simple post structure, right? There's these posts, heavy posts, smaller posts that branch out from it. That you would. This is your saddle zone. This is where your horses. You've got a covering for them, etc. Right? So that structurally, There's a lot of this makes sense around a central sort of TP form or a central post form with radiating columns, and that all ties down what's a fabric. And I do really like the ring as an inclusion here, because that ring would kind of be in tension, and I really dig the way that this rope wraps around. I mean, it's like this thing got swung. I'm kind of getting dizzy. This thing got swung around or sort of tensioned or turned, right? And that kind of locks it. So I really dig that about this building. Now, this is a very heavy, a very clean post, the central post. And it looks like it's locked there and goes all the way up. The beds aren't super private. I'm surprised they don't have a little bit of like side drapes here, like to cover that side. I'm always pointing my arrow just to highlight things, and people get really nervous, but I promise I'm not going to shoot an arrow at them. But if we get up here for a minute, we'll see the ring poking out. Now, I don't know what this is about here, but clearly it's to keep the water, right, from collecting. You have to do this a lot with tents, but it looks to me like it's just the end of a piece of wood, right? And that's actually not good, because that would just the water would just like pour into that if it tries to take the fabric and reach around, like you would grab a cup, right, or something like that, or a stick with your hand. That would be a ridiculous detail. I think it would have to drape over top, and those pieces of wood would simply be poking it from below, and you would create some kind of protection for the fabric there. But that's what we get. And also would need a cap here for this one, not just sort of be tensioned. This looks like a butthole. Can I say that? It's got a butthole. Ooh. It's just like tension fit there. That's not great. That's not great. Can I do my Rivali's Gale? Yeah. All right. So if we come up here, we'll notice, of course, this beautiful horse head, with clearly like indigenous or tribal appropriating like kind of language, but it's really cool. I mean, the horse. This is like about the size of the horse. Sorry, I need to. Whoops. Sorry, sometimes I'm too slow. I guess there's a Korok up there that I don't have, but I don't know if we have to do that in the stream. But hey, I get one every stream. I like climb something, and I tend to find one that I haven't climbed to. That's kind of nice. I hope that keeps on being a thing. We'll see. I do not have all the Korok seeds of one of the things that I have not accomplished. It would be that. So this structure's cool. It's pretty much just like a pieced together, sculpture of a horse head. I think it's quite beautiful. It's super colorful. A lot of different fabric dye would go into creating that. I don't know what the like mouth and teeth are made of. Probably wood, I'm guessing, but it's really difficult to tell. I think we can like check it out. Wood? Yeah. We'll call it wood. Oof. Need a break after that. We'll call it wood. I think that would be light enough for it. I think that would work okay. So, last thing to talk about would be kind of like lighting. So it gets up off the ground. It's got these beautiful post structure. I love the decoration. There's a couple of small details like this opening that bring me into the architecture, like these sort of horse figures that have this sort of feigned structural leg support. I think there's so many cool little details that go in. The belt that holds this up, or holds the door open, let's say, the clearly heavy fabric it would take to enclose this and keep you warm at night. The kind of insane way that it traps in the shopkeeper of all the inns or of all the stables, that the NPC's entire existence is that. And of course, this building is a duck, meaning it's shaped more literally like the building performs as, or it's shaped to be a literal metaphor. Maybe that would be a better way of saying it for those of you who still are having a hard time with the duck decorated shed metaphor. The building in a duck building is, the building itself is a metaphor for something that it tries to be a metaphor for something that the building does, or a metaphor for the way that the building is used, versus a decorated shed, which is just a kind of warehouse building that has a sign that tells you what it does. Okay, the one other kind of strange thing I want to hit on about this is lighting. Because have you noticed anything weird yet if you look at lighting and look at this building? Noticed anything a little weird? Okay. I gotta say, from the outside, I absolutely love how this looks, right? I can see the fabric that is being backlit, and it just looks so warm and comforting. That's a warm light. That's going to be like a 3700 Kelvin light. Okay. Now, a warm light is always welcoming to us, to people. That moon, that's a cool light, 5000 K, right, Kelvin. So that warm light already attracts us, but it appears to be this backlit piece of cloth, heavy cloth, and when we look inside, we can see that these three, if you'll notice, right, if you look at this next to it, these two pieces of cloth next to each other, you'll see that this one has, obviously there's a shadow, so something inside is making a shadow on it, right? But think about how much lighting it would take to go through that heavy cloth and create that shadow. And when we come inside, I just don't get the feeling like this has that much light in it. Like when I look back at this wall, it's actually kind of dim. The way it's lit from the outside would suggest that these lights are like almost at every single post and then some, right? That maybe these lanterns are glowing really, really bright. So that just means that they use the same baked-in lighting from the outside. Now, do I blame them for doing that? Absolutely not. I think it's very smart, because it maximizes the effect of the building. Look, I can even see the kind of middle tier. See where I'm pointing? I can even see the way the ring might be reflected. So they rendered this beautifully, and it looks absolutely enchanting. I just thought that was kind of funny if you think about the actual render and baked in effects, and that way the lighting isn't slowing down right? The lighting isn't slowing down at all. The game processor. Or it's not, maybe it would never slow it down, but it's not heavy weight, right? It's not ray tracing constantly. So the language of this thing is kind of simple. This looks like a bar or whatever. It looks a little heavy. I'm not sure what's up there, but these aren't really temporary structures, right? They're pretty permanent, but they have the aesthetics of a temporary structure. So I get it, why they sometimes mix like tent, the tent structure or tent connections with like simple cabinetry work, right? So I think that wraps up the stable. I love the stables. I think they're really welcoming. I've come to enjoy the music, actually, which is something I didn't think I would say because it a little bit annoyed me. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just me, but I thought that of all the soundtracks in the game, the stable one is like that flute is a little like, but otherwise, I've always loved the stable. It's welcoming, it's homey, it looks super warm and fun to stay there. I would love to go to one. Somebody should build a couple of stables like that, right? We need a quick bite to eat, actually, before we go on. Next, I would like to talk about the Labyrinths. Oh, jeez. Leave me alone. Don't you know I'm doing it? Sorry, I'm playing with a big delay. That's one of the reasons why I always make funny little mistakes when I play this. I'm on a delay. Not only a video delay with that, but a sound delay. That's actually in this game. You wouldn't believe. I don't know, this is a little. This is a little sidebar, but the sound delay is actually way more difficult to play with. It is actually the way more difficult part about this than the video delay. I thought a video delay wouldn't be a big deal, but if the sound isn't delayed, it doesn't. But if the sound isn't delayed, then you're making. The sound is way more important to your movements in Zelda Breath of the Wild than you think. Let's put it that way. All right, we had a snack. Oh man, I actually need more food. All right, let's eat that. I really hurt myself on that fall. Okay, I'm gonna do the shrine or the excuse me. I'm gonna do the labyrinths from the worst to best. All right, so I rated each of these shrine. I keep saying shrine because that's the word that's popping up. Excuse me. I rated each of the labyrinths based on how good or how good the architecture is, meaning how much the architecture impacts your enjoyment of the game, or how much the architecture reflects the goals of the game. Sorry, I'm just getting out of earshot of that. I rated each of the labyrinths based on the architecture, and I think coming in at number 3 is the North Lomme Labyrinth. Coming in at number 3. So we'll talk a little bit about labyrinths in general, but this is definitely number 3. I have to change really quickly. Why? Well, for one, the site of... Oh, let me get my, oops. Hang on a second. Oh, wait, wrong outfit. What am I thinking? Hang on, I'm like thinking about the building, and not what outfit I need. Why am I, that's my water outfit. Where's my, oh, it's behind my head. Here we go, everybody. Okay, the snow quill outfit. So sorry. Okay. Why is this the third? Why is this the third best? Well, I think the site of this labyrinth is really beautiful. I mean, what a gorgeous site, right? It's out there. It's it's alone on this stretch of vast wilderness, or vast the cold. These are actually 3 Lionel on a field, on a icy field. This shrine is amazing. It's like just in the middle of an absolute snowstorm, right? So this labyrinth is really beautiful in that it's sitting in the middle of this, in the middle of the kind of snowy grass. So the site is okay, but it's very impressive. So let's kind of take a walk back from it. Like these huge, I just love these things, labyrinths. This massive piece of architecture sitting in the middle of a peninsula. It has a kind of hierarchy in the way that its walls are built, and a lot of we'll see the same type of language in all the labyrinths, which I think is a kind of cool bonding agent between all the labyrinths. I like this, like, I hope you can hear my cat meowing. I really like the cord that kind of follows around like that. I feel like that looks like one of the Guardians. And for that reason, I kind of feel like it's like a ancient technology, and it's sort of signaling to us, right? This labyrinth, first of all, the labyrinth music is amazing. I love this tune. And this isn't just with the labyrinths either. It's also in the Korok forest, or in the and at least a few other places I can't think of right now. But what I do like about this labyrinth, though, is the presentation of the shrine. If you recall, right when you get here, you see the shrine. You can see it with your eyes, right? But to get to it is very, very difficult, right? You have to go to the sides. Like, I think there's something in the way here, but you eventually get rid of it and you reveal the shrine. I do love the little hint at the beginning that there's something peeking, right? Architecture is really good at that. When you can see just a bit of the tip of a building in a skyline, you know you're on your way to a downtown, or you're on your way to Manhattan when you see the top of the Chrysler building, even though you can't see the bottom of it or the street. You know what that demarcates, right? Just that little hint. It's the same kind of effect when you see a shrine. You're trying to get to it, and you're not sure how long it might take. Now, forgive me, it's been a while since I cracked these labyrinths, but I believe that effect happens in maybe one or more. But I like the kind of like These labyrinths are also very like Egyptian in that they're a very, very heavy exterior, right? They're a lot like pyramids, very, very heavy exterior, and then there's the kind of like throne room, right? And it's very simple, but each throne room kind of has a secret chamber inside it. If you look around a little bit, you'll notice that like this one, you can jump up, and there's this landing, and doing the landing, you can find that there's a little back entrance. So let's go back here and see what's up. Well, that blob won't know me. Well, I guess this one's just kind of like a... There's no... do I see something? Well, there is a kind of secret upstairs here anyway. Oh, there's like a... Oh, there we go. There's something. I'm sorry. You'll notice that there's like a pixelation to each of these. Oh, here we go. I'm silly. A pixelation. And that pixel, this pixel I just went on, is missing. It dropped below, right? Do you get what I'm saying here? This, it's like a puzzle. And the missing piece was the thing I just stepped on to get up here. Now that I'm up here, it's like the secret chamber. And look at that. Some stuff, some cool stuff, some treasure. Oh, a ruby. Topaz. Oh, nice. As you can see, I've never opened these. I just like, okay, so we got some stuff. Nice. Ruby, topaz. Very cool, guys. But I would rate this one number 3. Because I don't like I like this goop is like a little strange to encounter. I mean, maybe I don't know that they do it really well. Like here, I like the goop. I love it in a Hyrule Castle, but because of its how aggressive it is. But here, it's a little like meh. I don't know. But also, look at the sight. Look at the difference of sight of this one and here, right? I'm not sure. The North Lomme Labyrinth comes in at number 3 for me. At number 2, is the South Lomme Labyrinth. I really like this Champion's Gate thing. So if you look at the topography of this, you'll notice that you can kind of enter like this, and it's still hidden from you. It's still hidden from you. It's still hidden from you. And then you turn the corner, and like, bow, this thing is like in there, and it's dug in. We're actually we've got our cold outfit. We're gonna go here first to check it out. But the fact that it's kind of tucked away makes it, to me, a little more mysterious. And you can see the map from above, so it's clear sometimes that, like, the map, it's... Oops, let's see. The map obviously tells you it's like a secret shrine, right? Because you reveal the map. But this experience of turning this corner and seeing this thing is still really incredible. So, I think the site placement of this one is really great, really gorgeous. Now, the Labyrinth was actually, yeah, see, this is another one where, like, there's just this, like, you kind of know the shrine is there, and then, right? I love the hierarchical markings. This one seems to have a kind of column, or pseudo column in there. It's built into the rock. really super gorgeous. Of course, once we get past that outer shell, the inside walls are this kind of pretty flat. It's actually a flat texture. I wish they hadn't have done that. Of all the textures in the game, this one's a little weird. Like, I think it looks okay up there, but this one, you know, it gets a little flat when you get to the extreme angles by which we're seeing so much of it. But I'm okay with saving space. See, this is actually like physically pretty flat. Physically. But this shrine is actually hunkered into the lower area. Actually, exactly the kind of location where the tomb would be if we were talking, if this thing were a pyramid. And there's always a throne room or a treasure room in every tomb. And so this one, actually, wait, this might be how you get to the actual thing. I'm not sure this one has one. Maybe I just haven't found it. But this one seems rather simple. And actually, one of the reasons why it is my number 2 is because it was a little simple for me. I don't know, maybe y'all didn't feel that way. But I felt like this one was a little easier to crack. Maybe I just got lucky. And maybe I'm... Oh, there's more of that gunk, huh? Anyway, yeah, I don't believe that there's a kind of throne room for this one. But maybe I'm, like, totally wrong. I should have looked... I should have done more research. In any case, at a clear number 1 is the North Lomme. Oh wait, that's the other one's the North Lomme Island. This is the Lomme Labyrinth Island. Clear number 1 for me. Because, yeah, I totally agree. Also, it'd be really cool if they didn't show on the map. I mean, a lot of the things in video games work that way because, like with the shroud, you know, they're shrouded, and I think those kinds of things in video games are really incredible when you're able to discover stuff, right? Oh man, look at this baby. Oh yeah. I would go so far as to say this is probably... This might be my favorite single piece of architecture in the game. And this is a wonderful game for architecture. But this thing is incredible. We're going to swim there because I have a little story for you. Let me get some crabs. Look at this. Sitting off the north coast of Hyrule is a mysterious island, right? This island is very stout in nature. It is towering, swarming with birds, intimidating in stature. And I'm just sort of speaking qualitatively about it, but mysterious. Why is this mysterious, right? Like, think about how video games create something mysterious. Let's think about that for a minute. Is the bottom part of parking podium? Oh, you got me. What how a video game creates something mysterious is it establishes a language or a time that seems to make sense to you as far as how it is built physically. And then a mysterious object will interrupt that system. In other words, the thing that makes this mysterious isn't the object itself. See, this wouldn't be mysterious in another game. Or it would be mysterious, but only because we don't know what's inside. But this form, the shape of it, its stature... Oh, I hope I don't get struck by lightning. Its stature is mysterious to us in this game. Oh, jeez. This is my monologue. I gotta... do I have... Hang on, everybody. I'm sorry. This form is so mysterious to us in this game because we've not seen it before. Because it is interruptive to the narrative of the rest of the architecture of Hyrule. So it presents itself as something that's technologically different, aesthetically different, and therefore programmatically different. Like, it's not scaled to Hylians, it's not scaled to anything else we've encountered. It seems dangerous, right? And so for all those reasons, it can present itself as mysterious in this particular game. There is a little piece of ground. It does feel a little more foreboding because oh my goodness, am I really going to have to do this? I think I have to. Sorry. I believe it looks a little more foreboding because I went up, I made the approach in the right way. Like the other ones, if I would have approached them, it might have worked, but in any case, this is actually the front. Oh my goodness. What? Don't I have a... I'm sorry, everybody. There we go. Ha! We just made it to shore. Excuse the theatrics and the game mechanics for a second, but there's a draft. If you're not familiar with the game, there's a vertical draft of wind right here, and that's actually how you ascend. So another thing that makes it mysterious, right, is that there's no clear front entrance. And we see that all the time with architecture in the real world, that if there's no clear front entrance in a modern building, we think of it's usually in like the middle of the cube. Oh geez. We think it's typically in like the middle of a cube. But this architecture review, by the way, is going to be interrupted with some action. Unlike some of the rest of it. I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum here, but I might have to punk a guardian or two. Especially when you see my favorite space in the entirety of the game. That's coming up here in a second. But I am going to have to get into a fight when I show you my absolute favorite space. But the building on the inside presents itself as as a colonnade, right? These 6 main columns. And so there's clearly like a kind of open area. The shrine looks out over this area, and then all this in the back is confusing. Now, as far as we know, the Labyrinth is actually the first piece of architecture. Right. If you don't know the story, should I just kill this thing? Whoops. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Daedalus is actually... Don't worry, guys. I made sure I was OP enough for this review to be like, to work out. So... in Greek mythology, yeah, the Labyrinth is designed and built by Daedalus for King Minos. And if you know the word Minos, it's the prefix for the word Minotaur. And King Minos, his wife, was actually created or gave birth to the very first Minotaur by making love to a bull. Okay, you can look it up. So the Minotaur is actually King Minos' son, but they want to keep it a secret because this thing is crazy. Right, so if you're following along, Daedalus, so the Minotaur was so strong that they weren't sure how to keep it trapped. They didn't know if they could build walls that would be strong enough to hold the Minotaur. So instead of building walls that would hold the Minotaur by instead of building walls that would hold the Minotaur inside, Daedalus designed a structure that was so confusing the Minotaur could never find the entrance or the exit. So that's the story of how the Labyrinth was first conceived. Eventually, Theseus kills the Minotaur. So, just some architecture history there. There's more to it than that, but we'll go with it. Okay. In this throne room, I don't see anything, but there's cheeky little stairs, and behind the throne itself is actually maybe some treasure. Oh, come on, let's do it. But this is a kind of twisting stair. Yup. There's kind of secret behind the throne room. Am I being followed by a bat? Okay, I heard it. Yo. We're gonna leave this here. It's just too beautiful. A great flame blade. Beautiful. But, oh, see, there's the bat again. I hear it, but anyway. This is actually a spiraling stair that goes, oh, here we go. A keys. Sorry I called the keys a bat. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. Alright. But the by far most interesting space in this labyrinth, and what makes this my favorite, at least I think my favorite piece of architecture in this whole game, is this incredible cavern below everything. I'm gonna equip myself because I have a little bit of a battle to fight. So come with me for a moment. there seems to be this mysterious air tunnel coming up from below. Let's check it out. Oh, too soon. Oh! Alright. There's this incredible room below the labyrinth that... Oh, yeah. That actually is home to a whole bunch of guardians. Whee! I just took one. I just took one for the team, guys. I just took one for the review. Here we go. Is this one dead? No. I'm gonna hide behind it. But I love this room because, whoops. As it is below all the other... Boop, boop. Don't worry, I got my suit on. Oh, whoops. I didn't get a shot off enough in time. Okay. Sorry, hang on. I don't want to be cheap and like use the little freeze thing or hit him with that. If you don't know, you can do stasis. Yeah. No one wants to see that. But what I love about this space... Isn't this one alive? Yeah. What I love about this space is that because it's below the surface, we know that it's like close to the water, and because it's closer to the water, the space itself is like musty. And so I love that effect of the mustiness down here. I think that's like so beautiful. And so once you drop in here, what you experience first is a great fight, right? You're trying to keep yourself safe and you have this huge fight, but then suddenly you get finished with the fight and you're like, where am I? What is this space? What was this space? How did I get down here, right? What does it mean? So let's take a look around a little bit. So you can see the walls are the same as they were on the outside. Oops, let me switch to... The walls are the same as they were on the outside, the same kind of decorations. The ground has the square block motif that we saw above. So a lot of it's the same language. There are these kind of swirls in the wall, right? That kind of look like maybe guardian legs. The music is still very mysterious. But I loved, you see the like fog and mist that comes over us. I love that. And then, to cap it all off, these sort of reversed columns. These columns that are floating down from above. They have no clear alignment with anything we saw above. They might not, right? They might be sticking down here every time there's a secret chest, or they might be random. Who knows, right? But they don't clearly align with anything up above. This does. This tube kind of aligns with the shrine, so we can assume maybe that when we go in the shrine that we go down this pipe a little Mario-like pipe. But otherwise, this room is just this gorgeous empty hall, right? In the middle of the sea and on an island to the north. But you want to know one thing that does really bug me? Do you know? Of all these like kind of pixelation moves that they make, how are you going to put this in the middle of the block? How are you going to put this in the middle of a joint? For real? Like, for real? This one too, same. Middle of a joint. Middle of a joint. What, like, of all the things, this means there's no correlation. I'm positive there's no correlation between these, like, stalactite columns and the structure above. No reason. And they don't align. Some of them do. That one does. This one doesn't. What? They just didn't think I'd look up, or what? That part really bugs me. I love the moss. Like, there is the attention to detail, like putting the moss on the bottom of that thing. That's beautiful, right? It takes me there. All these effects, all these weather effects take me to this space, but you're killing me with the alignment of this stuff. I'm okay with things being misaligned. I'm not okay with things being misaligned that don't give me any reason to believe, like, why are they misaligned? I don't know. Oh wow. And we emerge from that thing and look back towards Hyrule. I can see so much from here. I can see so much from here. And they do such a wonderful job in this game of connecting us with the whole rest of the world. What is that way out there? Incredible. Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. That about wraps it up for me as far as this piece of architecture for now. Maybe we'll do a reprise at some point. But for now, it's back to Hyrule and back to doing what we do best. And thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. It's been a pleasure taking you through Zelda Breath of the Wild, my favorite Labyrinths, my favorite space in the whole game, and talking about the stables. So, cheers, and thanks for checking in. Thanks for the chats, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for listening. Of course, please like, share, and subscribe to get more videos like this. Comment down below what game you think I should do next. Come find me on Patreon to support my work, and see me live on Twitch to join in the fun. See you next time.